And these ones start to ripen in August, which is what we're seeing happening right now. Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favourite fruits, and in this case it's the fig. I have a fig tree which is behind me, which I've had for about 6 to 7 years, and I can say that compared to when you buy figs in the store, whether they're dried or whether they're fresh, they do not compare to picking them off the tree when you just get them at that perfect ripeness. So that's why I love growing figs. So just want to share some gems about how to grow fig trees, and mainly the care that is needed when we're in the growing season. And also I'll share a little bit about propagating figs as well, as I've recently had a little bit of a success at trying this. So here we have my personal fig tree, which I've had for a number of years. I think I've probably had it now for about 6 or 7 years. And we can see here, this is a fig which is going to ripen very, very soon. However, if we look in here, we can see there's another one ripening. And then if we go further back, you can see that one there, which is a lot more further along. So the cool thing about these is that they tend to have two crops, and what you can see here is that these small ones are the main crop, which usually come around October, but they tend not to ripen in our climate. However, what you do want are the first crop, which is known as the Berber crop, and these are the ones that tend to be very small and stay over winter, and then they come up in spring just before the leaves actually start to appear on the tree. And these ones start to ripen in August, which is what we're seeing happening right now. So typically if you're growing in the UK, what you want to do is make sure that you optimize your conditions for getting the first crop, which is the Berber crop. So what that typically means is usually from about March time, that's the time to do a lot of watering. So we're talking about filling the entire tray, or should I say the entire container of water, probably twice a day till it's overflowing. And usually you do that from about, as I said, April or May, and that usually goes on until about maybe early June or so. And at that point the figs hopefully will stay on the tree. One thing we have to watch out for when growing our figs is this colour change, which you can see on the one in the middle. Now if you imagine that this was spring, what we would want is to ensure that we water enough so that the figs stay green like the one on the right. Whereas if you're in spring and you have your figs on the tree and some of them start turning this red colour, unfortunately 8 times out of 10 it's going to drop off the tree. I've had as many as 100 figs on a tree, which even though I was watering a lot, they just all dropped off. But before dropping off they turn this colour. So I mentioned watering heavily, so I say about twice a day till the container's overflowing, from about late March to early April through to June, as hopefully that should prevent these figs from surprisingly being too thirsty and turning this red colour. Sometimes however the weather can be erratic, as it is in the UK, so you get a hot day which is blazing, then the next day suddenly it gets really cold, and then it keeps doing that over and over again. That can cause this to happen as well. So I mentioned the watering because at least it's the only area we have control over. So I reckon if you do the twice a day watering like I mentioned, you have a better chance. But just be mindful that sometimes that may not work just because of the weather, but at least we can just give it a go by ensuring that we do the best with what we can control, which in this case is the watering. To propagate my fig, I simply took some cuttings while I was pruning, put them in a plastic bag with some water, hung them up and left them to sit for a few months. So now we're going to see how they've done. So although these don't look like much, you can see that the propagation has largely worked. You can see that some are better than others, so you can see some roots along these 3 in the middle, this one a bit weaker, This one here, you can see not really much is happening, but the fact that I've got roots and that they're still alive means that I know that definitely these three, if I then just put them in some soil, that I should get a bit of generation taking place, whereby it should be able to get established, and then I should be able to have a new tree. Looking at these, it shows that it's safe to say that you want to try this with quite a few branches, because there's no guarantee that they're definitely going to take. So I just got a little pot here which I'm going to plant one of these in and see how it all goes. So I've just put in some alpha beets, which is just something which is very high in nitrogen, as well as some other trace elements, and I'm just going to put in some compost, and I'm also going to add a little bit of this, which is rock dust. This will kind of remain for a while, so I mean it's not really a bad thing to add it now, even though we're well into the season, because at least it would just add some extra trace minerals, including calcium, phosphorus and things like that, which help it to hopefully just allow the tree to get a bit of strength. So yeah, I've just added a bit more compost, so now I'm just going to add one of these to the soil. So I've just put it inside, made a little impression, and I'm just going to add some more compost just to put around it. This is by no means perfect what I'm doing, but I believe it will work. This little branch which I'm propagating is showing the signs of good health, because I mean just looking at, you can see the leaves here, and then also the fact that we did have some roots. So in a nutshell, that's it. This is how I've propagated this fig, and so I believe that this will be a new tree.